Are you stressed and filled with anxiety like I am? Maybe in a bit of pain from that car accident you had a few years ago? Well, the sponsor of today's episode, Hempville CBD, has us covered. They have the highest quality products created by chemists and doctors. Hempville carries everything from CBD to THC dispensary grade without those despicable dispensary prices. Order your Delta 8, 9 edibles and vapes along with the THCA flower and get free shipping when you spend $50 or more at hempvillecbd.com. Check out the link in the description for more details.
Welcome to the Filmistines, the podcast where we discuss all things movies. Join us as we dive deep into the latest releases, revisit classic films, and explore the art of cinema. Whether you're a film fanatic or just love a good flick, we've got you covered. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie gems, we'll be breaking down the storytelling, cinematography, and everything in between. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready for some cinematic magic. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $5 tier will grant the ability to request films for future episodes. This is the Filmistines, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience. All around you. And welcome back to another episode of the Filmistines. Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm joined today by my sing-along friend, Lucy.
Hello.
You can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for brand new episodes of the Filmistines. Some recent episodes include Sound of Freedom, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Fight Club, The Killers, our 35 important films, our top 20 upcoming 2024 film list, our recently launched new sub-series, Rumors and Topics, episode 1. But today we are getting back to the basics and talking about a movie. We are discussing the Francis Lawrence film of the Hunger Games series, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snake. I didn't know there was a fourth book.
Yeah, it's fairly recent. I think it's 2020.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the book. Oh, that's very recent. Okay. Well, I'm sure this was very much anticipated by lots of folks because Hunger Games is maybe not as loved as Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, but it definitely speaks to that level of fandom on some level, right?
Yeah, I think so, especially with the movies coming out. I think it gained more fans than the books originally had.
Yeah, it's in that nice, comfortable space that, every studio wished they had a IP from. But I don't have a lot of history with the Hunger Games. I like the first one. It's okay. The second one I think is maybe a little better if I remember correctly. And Mockingjay, is that what it was called? Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. The third and fourth.
Yeah.
They're not very good. I remember them being not very good. And I guess I have to report today that this might be the best of the 5 now. But I'm very interested because you have some history with the Hunger Games. What do you think about this film?
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I think I agree with you that it's the best of the series. It might be on par with the first one for me, but probably not. And I was thinking that this might be my favorite movie that came out this year, but then I started remembering what movies came out this year.
Holy smokes.
So it's not.
But it's up there.
But it I'll be bold and say it's in my top 5.
That's some good praise. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I think the movie looked great. It was an awesome prequel, which that's risky business when you do a prequel.
Of course.
The performances were awesome. Even the ones that were lacking were pretty great. The set designs, the costumes, everything. The pacing wasn't too bad. I know you made a comment when we walked out of the movie theater about how long it felt, but I didn't think it felt long at all. And there wasn't anything that I could imagine cutting out of the movie. And I mean, but even the music was great.
Yeah.
Borderline musical here. Borderline.
That's true. Yeah, almost. We didn't have enough dancing for it to be musical.
And we didn't have enough singing about what they were doing for it to be
Oh yeah,
musical.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I guess I will say off the top that this movie was long, but I think, and it had some pacing issues, and I think that's because it should have been a part 1, part 2 kind of film.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions for you here later on, if you felt like it should have been a part 1, part 2.
Yeah, they should have chopped off that so-called third act. It was hardly even a third act. Third chapter, I guess they even called it. It definitely pumped the brakes or something on this film. It changed gears big time when it got there, and I think the story suffers a little bit. Our main character, before I say too much, I thought our main character's name was Cornelius.
Oh my god. No, not Cornelius.
And so then when I saw it, because we didn't have subtitles.
Yeah.
So when I saw it spelled out, I was like, what the fuck?
Who is this?
Because, the girl and his sister, or is that his sister or cousin?
I think it's his cousin.
Tigress,
Tigress, yeah.
I thought she was just saying Cornelius. She said it the strangest. Because the other ones all sound like Cornelius in my head.
That's funny.
But she said it in such a way that I was just like, what the fuck is she saying? She just has a weird twang about the way she's saying it. I guess she enunciated it really well or something, or like really clearly, and it threw me off, and I was just like, she says Cornelius so weird. It's not Cornelius.
No.
It's
I think it's Coriolanus.
Coriolanus?
But like they say it probably more flowy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a thing that I had to deal with. That's how experienced I am with Hunger Games.
Yeah, but we'll probably just call him Corio or Snow. Let's just say Snow.
Or the main character.
Our main character. There you go.
Yeah, I thought the development of his kind of, villain moment, like his villain origin or whatever people say about, the reference the Joker movie and stuff, his moment.
Yeah.
I feel like it was kind of rushed, which is funny because this movie is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I don't think his moment was rushed. Would you say his moment is when he betrayed his friend? Is that what you're saying?
That whole last section is super rushed. That was a whole movie.
Yeah, I don't think it was super rushed. I don't know if I could see them breaking that off into one movie.
Yeah, you
without that feeling super long too. You
would need more when they get back to the Capitol for sure.
Yeah, which I don't think there's enough source material for them to have made it into a part 1, part 2. They would have had to get really creative for sure.
Okay.
I think the book is probably around 500 pages.
Okay, so that makes sense. I can see the hesitancy to try to break this up. I did see that they thought about that in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
But, okay. That clears things up a little bit in my mind because it seems sort of obvious. Because you're sold. Maybe I'm just not completely sold on the performance because it felt like the only real moment of just shift was the end of his character where he realized that, no one can be trusted. Lucy can't be trusted. When he was in the woods, when he realized that everyone's really against everyone. Everyone's out for themselves.
Yeah, I guess that's the main shift.
And it didn't feel like there was any setup for that.
I feel like there was a lot of setup for that, especially with his cousin. Tiger is kind of letting us know, like, don't be like your father, basically. And even when he beat that little kid up in the arena, and he had that kind of moment where he realized he liked beating people up, and he liked the survival instinct that he had in him, and I guess the power that gave him. And I think there's little bits and pieces where we see a lot of that, but he's probably still trying to be a good person inside. But then that all gets lost when he doesn't trust. I was going to say when he doesn't trust Lucy Gray anymore, but I mean, even before that, it's when he starts betraying his friend or even thinking about betraying his friend.
Yeah, that was kind of strange to me because I never really got the impression that they were actually friends. So I feel like that was kind of lost on me. I was just like, I
don't think they were actually friends for Corio. I think he didn't see them as friends.
Corio didn't?
Yeah, I don't think he did, which kind of makes us feel like they weren't. But to Sejanus, they were. Because we see that picture of them. Like, he actually considered him a friend, and then that's the oh shit moment. And I think that's one of his oh shit moments, and it makes him break down. He's like, fuck.
So why did Corio think that he could trust Lucy Gray? He seemed to be on the right page for the most part, or did his love get to him?
I think so.
Hmm.
I think love got to him. It's a girl, and she sings, and he likes that. He likes her spiciness, her confidence, which a lot of people lack right now in this time, in this dystopian world, and everybody's just scared, especially people from District 12. So he fell in love with her, but at the end of the day, it's survival.
Yeah, I just yeah, because I mean, it's the obvious kind of main thing that ties this movie together. We get a hand fed to us over and over again about us being in touch with our primitive side and kind of craving that on some level through entertainment or just experience. And I don't know what it is. I'm just not sold on Corio going through that process. I mean, I liked the example we got where he so-called saved Sir James. That's his name.
Sir James, yeah. S-E, Sir.
Sir.
I think, yeah.
Sir James, not Sir James. Oh
no,
my!
Not Sir James. You're killing me.
I thought they were saying Sir James. Because his dad's like super influential and stuff. I thought he was like a
sir
sport knighted in whatever this world, whatever that means in this world. My bad. So James, when he saved him, right, and he and Corio killed that guy or girl, whoever that was, and during the game, I liked that. That's a nice little kind of character defining moment, or at least like character development defining moment. And
I mean, you also have to think about that he's a complex character. He's not slowly transitioning into an evil person per se. He's battling how he's feeling versus how he has to survive versus like the struggles he has to go through.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is it feels like they end on him becoming an evil person when he's I don't feel like he's evil. Like in other movies, I don't feel like Corio's evil. He's just a big believer in this is how you run a society, or this is how you run this society. This is an important part of it. And he starts to understand how this particular type of society works, and he thrives in it. I don't really get the impression. I think that's a good thing about the series, I guess, and this character is I don't get the impression that he's evil. He's just...
But you think he's being portrayed as evil?
I feel like, yeah, especially when he's in the woods and that, he has this big moment, he shoots Lucy Gray, or he thinks he does.
And that's not evil?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that feels like it's too evil. Like, that whole bit was just strange and out of place. I feel like it was just a little too far with this character. I feel like this character needed a slower burn. I feel like the character probably did need 2 movies. It would have been hard to make happen. Maybe the movie should have been 30 minutes longer. Maybe we should have kissed that 3-hour mark instead. That may have been enough. But I feel like we had this kind of slow burn that kind of just deconstructed this character's view in the world. But when we got to that last like 30-minute section of the movie, things kind of just accelerated for him, which you would maybe expect, because he's in District 12, he's a radical situation for him, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm just not sold on, I guess, the particulars that we saw. I don't know, maybe we were watching him watch Lucy Gray a little too fucking much, I don't know. I didn't really like that last section. I thought it was okay. I mean, this is a very good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say he's not evil, though, based on the other movies, too. Because this is also a, kind of a children's story where you have defined, well, maybe not so defined, but you have characters who are good no matter what situation they're put in. They're going to be good. They're going to do the right thing, even if they're put in a situation where they're going to die. Or like in Corio's case here, he wants money. He wants comfort. He wants to live in the capital, not have to struggle. And in this kind of book, that's seen as evil. But I feel like in the movie, they do a great job of still kind of showing him as evil, but also giving us more complexity to this kind of character who we just would assume is evil.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a bit extreme for him to shoot Lucy Gray. But she also put a snake under his mom's heirloom, or his heirloom, the little shawl thing that his mom left him. She put a snake under that for him to pick up and then get bit. I mean, is she evil too? That's a bitch move right there.
Yeah, I guess you would expect something like that out of Lucy Gray because they're, in essence, the further down the totem pole of the districts, the more animalistic and primitive they are. The lower class they are, right?
Or so you would think.
Yeah, so they think. So the capitalists think.
Yeah.
And so that's totally fun and all, but I don't know, maybe I'm just bothered by his like love blindness. That might be my hang up, because he is smarter when he's talking to everyone else, but he's not smart when he's talking to Lucy Gray at all.
That's perfect. That's not comedy. That's romance.
That is comedy.
And that's kid romance too.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that's my hang up, is their relationship.
Their toxic relationship. Yeah, because I was reading this comment from a magazine that said that one of the biggest problems with this movie was that they diluted the biggest monster.
Koryo?
Yeah.
I mean, so are they more of the are they more of the camp where they want this to be the child's or the young adult book that it is, or do they want complexity? Because characters just aren't evil. People aren't just evil for evil's sake. That's not usually a thing. Like this, he is much more complex than you would expect. Like the Fantastic Beasts movies are really a really good example, where Grindelwald is just this walking thing of evil. There's no character to him at all, and I feel like there was a chance there that they could have made this character really interesting, explore their previous relationship with him and Dumbledore, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they completely ignore it. They completely reject the idea of what a character is in that series. And people hate that prequel series, I guess, anyways. But Cornelius here is 18, right? 19 years old. He's young, too.
Yeah, he's young.
He's not born evil either.
Yeah.
He's got to learn. He's just leaving school.
Yeah.
Or he's just about to start college, the college equivalent kind of thing here for the capitalists, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird thing to say, because he's a kid. He's a child. So clear this up for me. There were two people from District 12, right?
Yep.
And one of them was with Cornelius and the other was with someone else, correct? Or were they both with Koryo? Like was he their mentor? Was he both of their mentors?
No, he was only Lucy Gray's mentor.
Okay. Because at the very beginning they were saying the shit. If you're familiar with the world, it may just be a little easier to keep up. And I was just like, what? I don't know who's going with who. They're saying all these names in the beginning and stuff. I'm just like, this is a lot. I don't know what's happening. Their names are weird. I don't know if these are adverbs, fucking adjectives. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I am so lost on the details. I know what's happening. They're getting shuffled out and stuff and everything. But okay, so her friend that she was trying to protect that ended up getting rabies. He was from District 12.
Yeah.
But he was with someone else. Because towards the beginning, I was like, is he neglecting his other...
He was with the girl who gave him the water. I think she was a black girl. And he told her, give him the water because the water scares people with rabies. But, yeah, I can see how that was a bit confusing. You had to know the names in this kind of world. And just, I guess I was so into it that I'm like, I was right there with what they were saying. I was like 100% in, and it made sense to me. And typically the worst, or I guess typically the tribute who has the worst chance of survival is District 12 female.
Mm.
So that's kind of what we were supposed to get here, that he had the worst of the bunch. Because you always want the guy, first of all.
Yeah.
And the higher the district, the better.
Yeah, that's kind of funny because they made the guys in the games all cucks.
They made them losers, yeah.
And I guess that makes Katniss's win, impressive too, when the time came.
Yeah, it really does. And this is also just the 10th Hunger Game. So initially, I kind of had an issue with how cool the arena looks in, the OG Hunger Games, Catching Fire, all those. But, I kind of had to keep in mind that this is the 10th one. And on top of that, they haven't been getting good views, so they're not getting money, they're not getting funding. So the games weren't as cool as I would have wanted them to be.
Yeah, I liked it. It was kind of cheesy. All the, almost nods, they were like half nods to the core series. And that we see everything in a prototype phase. We see the characters, we see the flamboyantness of what we will eventually bring to the participants is selected. What do they call them?
The tributes.
The tributes. We see the kind of color that will eventually pop up in them through Lucy Gray and through them trying to. I guess this is the first time they're going to have mentors too. So they kind of, it's kind of like a half nod, like okay, or a half step towards that direction, and then the announcer guy is like this really awkward kind of.
He's a weatherman.
Yeah, weatherman. Like it's not even his job.
It's not even his job.
It's his side gig and stuff, and he's got a similar kind of almost colorful look to the other guy. To the what's his name? Something Tushi. I can't remember his name, but yeah, we can say
this guy. I think he's Lucky. I don't know his real name.
Something Schwartzman, I think.
Lucky Flickerman. He's an ancestor to Caesar. And Caesar's the really flamboyant one. I mean, he does a great job.
Yeah, that's funny.
So he's the host.
He's related.
So they're related.
See, that's cheesy and stupid, and that kind of ties into the kiddiness of it all.
Yeah.
But I like that a lot. I like that, and they didn't give you. They kept it just primitive enough almost that it was like, oh, okay, that's fun, and they tie that primitiveness into it with the big cage, the zoo thing that they put the tributes in.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot too and stuff.
Yeah, I even like the drones, how the drones were at their prototype stage too.
Yeah.
Like the water wasn't getting to you even if you ordered a bunch of them. So I liked all those bits. And I do like how they weren't really, they were cheesy, but they weren't spoon-fed.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say.
Yeah, they didn't reference the core sequel, the core franchise.
Yeah.
That would have been awkward.
Yeah.
But you can see that.
We didn't, tie Katniss in somehow that Lucy Gray was a relative or,
yeah.
We didn't go there. We don't know Lucky and Caesar are relatives. That would be weird to kind of tie that in somehow, but I'm glad they didn't even try. Introduce us a character with the last name Evergreen.
Yeah, that would have been one step too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I like that.
But they I mean, I guess they give us the she said Katniss thing when they're picking the
Katniss.
the Katniss, the water vegetation.
Yeah.
That's a fun nod too.
I loved all those nods, especially the Hanging Tree song.
Yeah, the Hanging Tree song is obviously the best one, but I guess I like the Katniss one too because they're they're kind of hippies, homeless people who live, just out and about. And so they're just picking plants, and she says that to a guy who, someone who's just not going to know about nature probably in any way whatsoever. And so that was a fun nod. But yeah, the tree song, what is it called? The Hanging Tree song?
Yeah.
The whole time when it was playing, I was like, why does it sound so familiar? I was like, this is a ripoff of some Nirvana song or something. I was like, this is, but no, it's a ripoff of itself. It's the origin of the song. And
they play the Hanging Tree song a lot on the radio when it came out, a lot. So it's funny. you probably thought, like, oh, this is the song from the radio from a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm over here next to you crying because
I had no idea.
I'm a fan, and I'm like, oh my god, this touches my soul.
That's so funny. I had no idea. No, that's great. That's great. Are they gonna? I guess it's worth saying too, just to poke at Rachel here. Is that her name? Rachel Zegler? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Is she gonna sing in every movie she's in now?
I guess
she's
so.
gonna be in Snow White next.
She's definitely
And
gonna
she's
sing.
singing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I guess so. They like her voice.
I guess so. What do you think of her? She's kind of controversial, it seems like.
Why?
I don't know about this movie, but she seems to be sandbagging Snow White, and that it's gonna be something completely new and different. That it's not gonna be Snow White. It's just like I don't.
But that's her choice.
No, that's not her choice at all. She's
Then,
but
then why
she is kind of the face of it, right? She is Snow White, and she's going through the PR circa and stuff, and so it just seems like you think she'd be really kind of nebulous and just talk about how great the movie is and how fun it was to work with Gal Gadot and the CG dwarves and stuff, but she seems to be going into more detail about the intent and inspiration of the movie, which is cool in essence, but it seems to be mildly controversial. Do you have any thoughts on her? She's fine, I think.
Yeah, she's
as
fine.
far as acting goes.
She did a great job here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of glad they're doing something different. If they
with
manage,
Snow White?
Yeah, with Snow White, if they manage to pull it off. But I might be a little biased because I think Snow White is the worst of the Disney princesses.
Well, for one, it's like fucking 45 minutes, so it's hardly a movie. Nothing goes on.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
It's probably the most boring Disney princess. I've never liked Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the elves are probably
the elves.
Wow. It's just Christmas season. Elves are on my mind.
They might as well be elves. They're like stocky elves.
The dwarves are the coolest part.
They're elves that work in mines.
The hi ho, hi hum,
yeah,
whatever
it's a
song.
It's a
great song.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
I don't want to go on about it too much, but I will say I think they released a couple of screenshots of her and the CG dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
I like them playing with the size of the dwarves. They look almost troll-like now. They have this. They're even more kind of deformed than you would maybe expect coming from the core cartoon.
Okay.
And so some are like as tall as her, but they're like really stocky and cool, kind of cool looking. They look very CG, but I'm just coming to terms with that. I guess I don't really care anymore. Fuck it.
I mean, no, I'm not gonna say I'm excited for it because it is Snow White and it's another Disney live action, but I think it's gonna be interesting, and that's unfortunate that people are even slightly hating on something that's trying to do something different. Although I am all for something sticking to the source material and just making it like boom, like just wow. So I don't know, but I liked her in here a lot.
Yeah, I thought she did a pretty good job. I think she arguably did better than Cornelius. I think they both did pretty good, but I thought she did fine.
Yeah.
I like her here more than I guess West Side Story. West Side Story was kind of a slog to get through.
Yeah, I didn't get through it.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope, I fell asleep.
I like her more than the guy, and that's with her, and that he's also in Baby Driver. I don't know his name. Ansel Inget or something like that.
Guy.
I don't know. I don't really like him.
I think he's okay. I think he's in something I like, but I can't remember. But yeah, I think that I think West Side Story, even though it's a musical, lacks something that just didn't keep me interested.
One thing I didn't like about the tributes is they all felt like they were from District 12. I don't feel like they characterized them quite enough.
Yeah, I can see that.
They were all, I think, all filthy.
Yeah.
Which, I guess they're in a train or something. But you think the District 2, is the capital District 1? Or is it just the capital?
It's the capital.
Oh, so it's District 1 to 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's kind of 13 districts in a way.
Yeah.
So you would imagine that District 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 even are cleaner and look a little different clothes-wise and maybe cut wise than the rest. But
Yeah, I thought about that because in the core series, District 1 and 2, maybe even 3, they trained for this. They're like beautiful, they're hardcore, they're advertising themselves. They're all for this 100%. But that's also, 65 years later. So
yeah.
I kind of like that they didn't do that. This is, 10 years, I guess, 10 years after the districts rebelled, after the war or whatever happened here. I'm not exactly too sure. It's been a while since A, I've read the books, and B, I've seen the other movies. But it is right after a war, so maybe that's why everyone still has a little bit of that dirtiness and why it's so distinct in the core series, but who knows. Did you like how dirty District 12 was? Because I know that that's a thing we've noticed in several other movies, how there's some movies that tend to be a little bit too beautiful when you have a dirty scene. Not a dirty scene, but like a physical dirty scene. That's even worse.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because they're a coal mining town, so they need to be absolutely filthy.
Yeah. Did you think they did a good job making it really filthy?
I feel like it was pretty filthy. I mean, it could have been even filthier probably, but I feel like nothing seemed too clean, I don't think.
I feel like a little bit of what are they called? Peacemakers?
The Peacemakers, yeah. They could have been filthier.
I think they were a little too clean for me.
Yeah, I could see that.
And maybe even Lucy Gray was a little bit too clean.
Well, it sounds like she didn't work. So she just...
she didn't sweat.
She's a fucking beatnik and she just...
She just sings songs all day.
Yeah, and I guess to be fair, not everyone there is a coal miner. It's just the core industry coming out of there, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously they need to have normal fucking commerce there too. There's probably like, their equivalent to a grocery store or market area, bazaar, and...
Yeah, that's true. Like in the core series, Gale, who works in the mining, he's dirty as fuck all the time. Yeah. And then PETA.
Didn't PETA fucking make bread?
PETA made bread, so he was clean.
Does he make PETA bread?
He probably does.
Yeah. What did Katniss do? Did she have a job? Or is she like a social worker?
I don't know what she did, now that I'm thinking about it. I know she hunted. She probably hunted and sold the meat.
Yeah, I would imagine hunting's a very valuable practice in that district.
Yeah, a good skill to have. And maybe her little sister sewed. I don't know.
Okay.
I really like all the set designs, especially the Dr. Gaul, I think that's her name. I don't know how to say it.
Viola Davis?
Yeah, Viola Davis. Her lab.
Yeah, she taps into that kitty thing where she's just
Dr. Evil.
Yeah, she's so extra, and
yes.
her lab is so like impractical. It's just like, what the fuck is all of this? But it's fun. It's very fun. They had a good time putting that together, and she had that stupid pool of like big ass snakes or something in there. I was just like, this is good. I wish this was just embraced a little bit more. Yeah, she was good.
Yeah, she was good. I really liked the snakes. The snakes looked awesome.
Yeah, the snakes were cool. I like that.
I like her bird experiment, and how that came back and tied in. The pool of evil snakes, alligators, whatever they were. I love that. All her little experiments in floating vials. Love that. I loved how she freaking tricked that girl into like putting her hand in there. Like, well, if you're telling the truth, you won't mind getting this note, would you? I love that. I loved all of it. I loved everything she was in.
She seemed to be the only character in the Capitol, minus Schwartzman, future Tushy, I guess. I don't know their character names. Finger Flipper.
Oh, Flickerman? Yeah, just say words.
Just say words. You'll be all right. She seemed to be the most like cartoony character in at least coming from the core series, what you'd expect to be a little bit more cartoony, even 60 years before.
Yeah.
But she was excellent. I'll tell you one character who I didn't like at all and I thought was completely wasted was Peter Dinklage's character. Completely fucking wasted, I think.
Yeah.
I think we should have had a little bit more of a more important dialogue happen out of him. I don't know if that's just my Game of Thrones-ness coming out because all of his dialogue in Game of Thrones is very good, and eventually is the only reason worth watching the show. But the kind of forced climax of his character in this was just stupid. And that was, I guess, that next, when he got over that evil hump, I'm evil Cornelius now, and then he comes and kills, the game master to kind of symbolically reset the game of their society, right? I like that. I mean, I like him killing him, but it felt kind of forced because it's like, oh, I was your dad's best friend at one time. I didn't agree with him. It's like, and then he kills him. It's just like, oh, I wish this could have been drug out a little bit more. It was just so like, boom, we're done.
No, but he tried to get him kicked out from the beginning. And the whole time, he knew he wasn't going to get a game prize if he won.
But why couldn't he have gone to, like, detention or something? Like, we could have gotten more between these characters. It was just so studious. It was so fucking, I don't know. There was not any emotion or history there. Even though they may not have history specifically together, but he does have history with the Snows. I wish we could have gotten more out of that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, I do think maybe not a bit of a waste, but something could have been elaborated with him, especially how great of an actor he is.
Yeah, especially that. And then I'm so rubbed by the end there. And the way he died. Oh,
that was hilarious.
The literal way he died, not the means, but like the performance of it was just so stupid. Him, leaning over the desk and like just dying.
How do you want him to die?
I don't know, some other way. I want it to be a different angle or something. I like that he, basically put morphine or whatever it was in front of him because he's an addict and he can't reject it. That's great.
He killed himself. A little bit of my saw coming out.
No,
he definitely killed himself.
It should have just been a little more dramatic is all.
That was hella dramatic.
It shouldn't have been so theater. It should have been more melodramatic.
You just want a different kind of movie. All your movies cannot be melodramatic. It's not a kiddie movie, but it
almost is.
It's inspired by a, young adult source material.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to keep some of that. You got to keep some of that in there. That's the thing that makes you love it or not.
Yeah, I guess that ending for Peter Dinklage's character. What's his name? He's the dean, right?
Yeah, he's the dean. Highbottom.
The end there with Highbottom, I can see that being, I don't know, I can see that working in a young adult book better. Exactly what was shown on screen, I could see that in one paragraph in a young adult book being like, instead of a whole fucking chapter of them talking, what I would, is what I would want out of it.
Yeah.
But I see that. I see that.
He puts the vial up to his lips as he takes one last swig.
Some Game of Thrones shit.
His face turns a shade of purple as he leans over the desk.
Yep. That's what I want.
Boom.
The result is still fun. It's still good. It's just the way we got there in a few instances in this movie are just like, oh, I feel like they could have gone that extra mile, but there is something to say about holding on to, what the source material is. Yeah. I get it. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you just said we didn't have enough of a rivalry there that he deserved a melodramatic death.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we could have built this rivalry of the whole, like, the sins of the father.
He did. What do you mean?
We could have built that up a little more, though.
Oh.
Because we tapped into that just a little bit, and then we didn't really take it anywhere.
You wanted some Snape shit.
Yeah.
You wanted Snape.
I wanted Snape. I wanted it to be a little different. But yeah. So, I mean, it's just a good example of not everything is for everyone.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
Because it's hard. It's impossible to say it's bad or anything. So, it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. I'm impressed. I liked it.
I'm surprised you liked it. Based off of, the names being Cornelius And you didn't know that the hanging tree was a nod to the core series.
Well, I mean, because at the end of the day, it is a villain origin story
Yes.
on a level that's not as overt as you might expect. I feel like there's some instances of there like, ooh, that's a little too evil. But I get it. I get it. A few instances can get a pass for sure. But like, it's kind of like the Joker, where
Not everything can be the Joker.
I mean, I get it. I get it.
Not everything can be Joaquin Phoenix's performance.
Or a pig.
Or Pig.
Nick Cage.
But he's not evil. Or he doesn't turn evil. Like the Joker is evil. He's evil,
but they both kind of deal
villain
with. I mean, yes, but
in the comics.
that's what I was gonna say about the movie is they paint him in such a way that he's much more complicated than just a villain. He's this guy who suffers from chronic loneliness, and the most uncomfortable angst within society, within a society that hates him and hates itself. It's just because at the end of the day, I guess it is Gotham, so it's just a society run by criminals anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But we get a microscopic look at this character just completely losing his mind, which makes that movie really good.
Yep.
And we get a little bit of that here, where he's not just evil, and that's I think that's a really powerful thing.
Yeah, I think we're getting a lot better of these villains are people too.
Yeah.
Movies.
They are. Villains are people too. And that's a t-shirt.
Is that a t-shirt?
That needs to be a t-shirt.
Oh, that needs to be a t-shirt. I guess we kind of started with Maleficent. Is that the evil one with Angelina Jolie or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know when that came out, but Thanos too.
Yeah, Maleficent came out in 2014. So around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we got something great with the Joker and even Cruella, which I think Cruella is more along the lines of Choreo here, where it's still Disney source material. So she kind of needs to be evil, like killing dogs and making them into fur, which I don't think she does in the film. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
If she kicks a dog, I don't know what a little too evil thing she does, but I think we're getting better with these, which I also don't mind an evil for evil's sake character. I'm fine with that. I'm still a child, so completely cool with that.
I think I am too. I think I'm fine for just evil for evil's sake. That's kind of the ironic thing about the Joker, right? Is the core, the normal Joker and Batman doesn't have any motivation other than, I guess, to fuck with Batman. Because he completes him. I
have no idea about Batman Joker relationship. I've never read any of the comments. I've never read any of the comics. I don't think I've finished a lot of the movies. I don't remember the movie that I did finish. So I couldn't tell you anything about that.
What do you think of the Hunger Games itself? Like the battle?
It was fine. It wasn't anything crazy, but it also wasn't the point of this movie. It was tension. There was enough tension to keep you entertained. Yeah,
I like that the games, I guess, get much longer as the decades go on, because I guess they probably started in the morning and the finger flicker was like, we might be done before lunch, boys. And then, in Katniss' story, they're out there for several days.
Yeah, but that's also way more fleshed out because, this is the new Snow games.
Is he the game master?
No, he's the president. He's the Capitol president.
All right, man. Well, that was a good talk. Thank you for that. Probably write this down. This is probably my favorite of the Hunger Games.
That's good. I think so too. I think for me too. Either that or the first one.
Do you have a budget guess for me?
My budget guess is $120 million. Just with how big this franchise was.
Yeah, it's a big AAA blockbuster movie. That's pretty safe.
And it looked really good. It looked the expensive good.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, the CG didn't look like Disney CG. It looked, that's a good guess. It says here that it was $100 million.
Ooh, so close.
A little high. and it's still in theaters, of course, but it's gone on to make 125 million, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
The what's her name? Suzanne
Collins.
Suzanne Collins. She's gonna have to make some more of these, more prequels or like side stories, because this is probably gonna end up being a little bit of a hit. Could you see a sequel to this?
I could.
Yeah.
I definitely could. Maybe how he became president, or...
Yeah, because how long has he been president?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure they say it. I don't know, though.
Ugh. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this movie and talking to me about this today.
Yeah, thank you for going to the movie theater with me.
That's right. We went to the theater.
For once. We didn't bootleg it. We paid.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Filmistines. Remember, you can catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all of your podcast platforms. But until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives in the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines. And follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching, keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmistines, signing off.